Well, hello everybody. It's Brother Todd with your Victory Minute today. I hope you guys are all having a good day. I'm a little late getting this thing made today, and the reason for that is I got distracted. And I don't know why, but I thought about that this morning. I thought about don't let yourself get distracted today, son. And then I roll up here at the church and I got to working on something, and I saw an ad on some stuff I'd done some studying on earlier. You know how they track you around with your ads? I've been thinking about putting a solar system on my house. And well, next thing you know, I look around and I hadn't made my Victory Minute yet, because I'd spent about 35 minutes kind of looking around, messing around with that little solar deal on the internet. And I thought, boy, you have done it to yourself again. You got distracted. And it immediately made me think of old Dr. Wilmington's 16 deadly D's. And he called them the 16 deadly D's of the devil. I mean, that's kind of a tongue twister. If you ain't ever got it, Dr. Wilmington's Guide to the Bible is probably as good a Bible guide as ever was made. But anyway, he noted that the devil has these different devices. There goes David Gilmer. And he's got these different devices that he uses, and they're part of his toolbox. A long time ago, military strategists realized that the way you win is there's a four-part element to really overcoming any obstacle or enemy. And that is, 1, you have to know your weaknesses. 2, you have to know your strengths. 3, you have to know your enemy's weaknesses. And 4, you have to know your enemy's strengths. And you can't get into denial and think that you have no weaknesses and that your enemy has no strengths. That's how drunks get beat up. They go to thinking they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and like the Bible says, you wake up in the morning, your eyes red, your head beat up, and you don't know what happened. But what happened was you assume that your enemy had no strength and that you had no weakness. The Christian, well, we're weak in the fact that we cannot exist in any spiritual power apart from Christ. We are the branches. He is the vine. I've seen lots of preachers running around trying to look for the devil and, wanting to fight on the devil. I'm going to tell you something. If you're not dependent on the Lord in it, you're not going to have any victory. We have frankly, our strength is the fact that Christ has died for us. We are in Him. He is in us. And through Christ, I can do all things, right? Who strengthens me. The devil's weaknesses is he can't contend against God. He's not omnipotent. He's not omnipresent. He's a created being. He's not the yin and yang and all that kind of nonsense. The yin to the yang and all that. But he does have strengths. And those strengths are he has devices. He's had his fangs took out of him, so to speak. And Jesus knocked the teeth out of the lion at the cross, disarmed him and made an open spectacle of him, the Bible says. But he does have devices. And what I mean is old devil's group, they love to try to get you to doubt. They love to try to disappoint you. Love to try to get you depressed. Like to get you operating in desperation. Those kind of things. I'm not going to give you the whole list. You can go out and study it. But anyhow, one of their devices is distraction. And we as Americans, those of us that are watching me here on this, I know a lot of you aren't, we have this insatiable appetite for entertainment. And it distracts us, and we love to play, and we have enough resources that we think we can play, or we can get to the point that we can play more. I've seen many a guy work himself to death just to get a boat, go set out on it, not even like sitting on the water. It distracts us, and if you can distract somebody long enough, you can get them. You can have them where they're not ready. I'm a long time procrastinator, and if you can run me right up on a deadline by distracting me by one little thing after another until I run out of time on something. And the devil's one of his favorite little deals is to distract you throughout your lifetime so that you never really accomplish anything that's eternal in nature. Old evangelist is going on now, revivalist, a great one. Leonard Ravenhill used to go about saying that entertainment is the devil's substitute for joy. and we move from one thing to the next. We love our play. Brother Jim Everidge, our staff evangelist, is fond of saying, how's he put it? He said, we play at our worship, we worship our work, and we work at our play. And we move from one thing to another. And there's nothing wrong with a distraction that gives you a certain amount of rest. But the problem with a distraction is that it can become an obsession. If your distraction is to be out in your wood shop from 6 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, and you never spend any time with your wife, you're just obsessed, brother. You need to get that thing kind of reeled back in. How many Saturdays have we burned up sitting around watching college football games of colleges we don't even like or have been to? We could have been out there mowing the yard. And then we get out there in the heat of the day and we're mad about it in a cranky mood. What happened? We got distracted. In America today, you got people who don't go to church because they're distracted. I want to do this on this Sunday, and I got this little deal to do. And we make all these excuses, and then what happens is we look around and we have no real eternal power. We don't have any spiritual power. Yesterday I was talking about, Jesus said this kind comes only out by prayer and fasting. You don't make the time for the prayer, you're not going to have the strength. If you don't have all fasting does is make time for prayer. If you're not going to have time, if you're not going to make time for it and you get distracted by it, you following me? The next thing you know, it's got you. Next thing you know, your morning's over. And that's what happened to me this morning. I just got to move along. I needed to get this done before I mess around worrying about, whether or not I want to put solar deals up on my rooftop, which is all fine and good, but it has its place. Now I got John Copeland in there waiting on me to get this printed out. And I've done messed up his time. He's got things he needs to do in the sanctuary, working on things. But why? Because preacher got distracted. And what does it do? It pushes everything off. I want to ask you a question. I'm not going to keep you long today. Is there something that's distracting you from doing the things that you need to be doing? Now, I'm going to hit you with a word we hate. I'm telling you, we hate it. But that word is discipline. Discipline is what overcomes distraction. If there are things that you are going to do and you set that discipline, then you can't get distracted by it. I worked out for years lifting weights. First thing in the morning, I'd get up, I'd go to the gym. Might be 4 in the morning, might be 5, depending on the different routine I had going on at the time. And that was my discipline. I had to do it then to get it in. But I was going to get that done because what would happen? Later in the afternoon, I'd end up distracted from something. And by something. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, or it could be something eternal, or it could be something full of nonsense. But I'd get distracted. And the next thing you know, you're not getting in what you need to get in. You say, preacher, why ain't you doing that now? Well, right now I'm using the COVID-19 as my excuse. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go back, y'all. I'm telling you, I'll be so sore. I won't be able to walk for weeks. But anyway, so I won't keep distracting myself. See what I'm saying? It just jumps on you. So what you got to do is make sure you've left room for the things that matter. You guys, they tell me 70% of the people that watch these things through every day, these minutes, are men, the ones that go out on Facebook. They tell me that 70% of you guys are men. In fact, they tell me the biggest part of you from 25 to about 45 years old. So just listen to an old man here for a minute, okay? You don't want to not remember your 30s. You don't want to not remember your 20s. And you say, Brother Todd, what are you talking about? One of the biggest battles I always had in my life is I dealt with lots of stress. I dealt with lots of people. I'd work like in the church. I'd put in, it wasn't nothing for me to put in 100 hours a week. Okay, nothing. And then what happened was my life started getting in a blur. And I had 2 kids I was raising. I tried to, I always was at stuff they did and all that kind of thing. But my life I had so many things going on. I was involved in everything, every community thing, everything in the denomination, all that kind of stuff. And life was just happening as a blur. And I had too many things. They were distracting me. They were taking my attention. And what I did was I cut down. I said, I'm going to do the things of God that God's leading me to do, not things I think I ought to do because I'm a preacher or this or that. If God don't lead me to do it, I ain't going to do it. And I'm going to make sure that I prioritize my family. I'll tell you a little story. Mason was 5, 6 years old. He laying in bed. His mom was putting him in bed. And I was a fireman before I was a preacher. And I worked on my 2 days off, okay? I actually probably saw that boy because we was just trying to get him fed. I might have been able to see that boy an hour a day on the days that I wasn't at the fire station. So 2 hours out of every 3 days, I actually, quote unquote, got to really spend time with him. So he's laying in bed and his mama's tucking him in. And he said, Mama, and I was pastoring full time, and we left the fire department. And he said, Mom, when's Daddy gonna be a fireman again? And she said, oh, baby, he's not gonna be a fireman again because he's a pastor now. And he said, well, I wished he would be a fireman again because I miss him. You ain't got to do everything. And you say, Brother Todd, but you was pastoring, it was good. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff you do, it's nonsense. I should have told a lot of people, no, I ain't gonna do that. There's a lot of things I did back then I have no peace on. Things I felt like I had to do, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's some kind of weird acceptance kind of thing or something. I don't know. But anyhow. But a lot of it was just distraction. And so what was happening? That boy was getting older and I was missing it. And Misty told me that. And that was an eye-opening moment for me. And that was the last 100-hour week I probably ever worked in my life. I backed it off. Because why? Because I have to make sure I've got time for the things that matter. Lots of times we go, I ain't got time for that. Well, what's distracting you? If you'll cut out your distractions, you'll find you've got more time for the things of God than you know. Had lots of people tell me, we can't go to church. We got this and that to do. Watch TV. Watch TV 20 hours a week. You ain't got time to go to church. Golf 4 times a week, 3 times a week. Bubba, I'm going to tell you something. You're playing golf 3 times a week, you need to go home and spend some time with your family. I used to play golf 3 times a week. So just listen to an old man here. Don't let it distract you from the things that matter. Because what's going to happen is you ain't going to remember none of those times. You're not going to remember any of those times. And they can be times where you totally miss it. Think about it. If you're being distracted, obsessed by something right now, what happens? You know what it's like. You've chased one hobby to the next. And when you get done with one hobby, you start on another. Why? Because that first hobby didn't satisfy you. It's just got to be a thing, guys. It's just got to be a distraction. Let it be a diversion, a mental rest. But don't make it something that you spend all your waking time in trying to get done. You're going to miss it. You can miss a day. You can miss a life. You can miss a morning. I got to get this wrapped up so old John can get about his business and I can get on things that actually need to happen. Right? You got to focus yourself. God will give it to you. I pray God will bless you. I pray God will help you. And I pray you have a great day. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.